know if we're going to be able to do it in the garden. I can hear my neighbors, so it'll all depend. So I'm hoping that YouTube will not fail me now with kitty pictures. That YouTube will not fail me now, or my phone won't crash. I feel like all last week, every time I tried to, I'm gonna sit down for now and we'll get together in the garden. But every time I tried to go live, it kept crashing after a little bit. So I don't know what is up with that or why that happened. Kind of crazy. Good morning, halfway home. And maybe set the kitty down. Let me move some stuff so I can be set up. And obviously later in the afternoon works for so many more of you because you're here. Wow, my gray's showing up in the morning light. Look at the cat. I have to tell you the story on the kitty. So it's been a while. So our cat passed away a while ago, and my husband is not a big cat fan. He's allergic, and that's it. So I've had 2 cats, well, 3 cats as an adult. And my cat passed away, and I actually went and I was like, oh, we'll take a kitten. I'm like, oh, I don't want a kitten. You know, we need outside cats, and we need to, you know, and to get a kitten that's been indoors and then be like, no, you're going to be outside is not fair. And I just told the kids, I said, listen, when the time comes to have a cat, the Lord will provide. So the time to have a cat was the New Year's Eve. Look at him. He's like obnoxiously purring, and he's just like, yeah. And what's funny about, so the cat showed up on the porch. He just showed up on the porch, a little bit scared, but showed up. We fed him, you know, what we had in the house, tuna fish. So when your welcoming campaign is tuna fish, I think that's a good way to stay. And the funny part is we have a 2-for-1 cat, believe it or not. His brother, we just kind of laugh, we call him he who shall not be seen, is here too. But his brother hides. His brother does not, they look identical. So this is Pete, and his brother is Repeat. His brother has a white chin, where he's got a white neck. His brother's white starts on his chin. And Repeat will hide behind the freezers, and he comes out and eats a little bit. I have held him once. He was mad. His ears were like the whole time. He was just like this the whole time holding him. He would not relax. He would not purr. He was just angry that I was even touching him. And then, so we ended up, I know, right? So we have Pete and Repeat. And Pete is just easygoing. He's about to be done. He's like, I'm going to be done now. And it's so funny because I'll see the kids, like my son, he walks around with Pete like this, and like his little tail's going. And Pete will be completely laid out. He's not now. He's like, I'm going to go. And he's like, I have a secret weapon of mass destruction. It's the cat. You know, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So he works out really, really well. And he just hangs on the porch, and he's not going to be happy because we're going to have to go get him fixed. And we're going to catch his brother and get his brother fixed. So we have like a 2-for-1 cat is what I say, because we hardly ever see Repeat. I'll see if I can find if Repeat is visible today. I'll just look at him. We'll see if I can get him with a treat. He's not a very, is he there? Oh, he's not here today. No, he hides like right behind the fridge. My kids are like, what are you doing? He hides right behind the fridge. And there's like this, like, across from us, there's some woods that they kind of have a place to hang out in. All right. So I do want to follow up. I don't know what happened last week, but every time, like if a phone call came through or a phone, it would just freeze my live feed and freeze YouTube for like, I had to restart my phone so many times. So I'm hoping no phone calls come in today in order to have a live video chat. I've been working on my garden, and it's so nice because I kind of dedicate like a little bit, like 20-30 minutes in the morning to my garden, and I've gotten so much pleasure out of it, out of my garden. And I might be going a little gangbusters on planting things, but I'm going to take you for a little tour of that today. And then I'm going to do my testimony. Hopefully YouTube doesn't get rid of me before then. And since I couldn't get to it last week, and just kind of figuring out, we've gotten into a habit. So I have the 2 kids homeschooled, and they're bored. And it's a whole different perspective now that the other 4 are at school. You know, the bottom 2 really need speech, and I need them getting speech therapy, so they're at school still. And I have my 2 high schoolers at, what in the world? Maybe now I turn the Wi-Fi off. I've been kind of feeling, I don't know, bored. Bored would be a good one. A little lonesome. There's only 2 of them at the house. It was, honeymoon period is over. I've been home with them for 2 months now. And in the 2 months, it's been perpetually busy on me. Like, there's always something going on that has all of me. You know, there's not much extra, and they're bored. And so I'm trying to be better. So today we're going to go hit the bargain barn. That's what they call it. One of the Goodwills that you can kind of dig through stuff. They want to do that today. So I'm like, I will take you anywhere you want to go, because I don't know. That'd be a whole nother conversation about, you know, I've homeschooled for 10 years, and there's a part of me that feels like I've lost it. It's not so tangible. I have a hard time keeping myself from not just burning out at times. And yet I know I don't want to leave it. But then I really question myself, I don't want to leave it because I know the academics are more solid at home, and the moral character compass is more solid at home. Some boredom is good. Go for hikes. Boredom, I agree, is good. I'm a lover of boredom. But then we have to go get to the places to do hikes. So I think we're going to go do some reconnaissance today and go check out some things. I remember when I first came home from working every day around 10 o'clock, I'm like, let's pack up and go do something. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do it. All right, so I quickly want to tell you, because I felt like I never got a chance to share it last week, and I know I needed to share it. I just want to tell you who I was before Christ real quick. And I will probably tell you again and again several more times. But because I had forgotten that part about my life. I forgot about who that girl was. And I'm going to keep it real short, because I know for some of you that may be in the same boat, like you forgot, or for those that are living it still. Before I came to Christ and as a child, I always had the understanding and the presence that God was there. Without a doubt. I'd even pray to him or talk at him, probably talk at him. I wasn't in for listening. And, but you know, I always had this issue. I go stir crazy quickly. So getting out is fun for me and the kids. Yeah. And I had this issue where I always felt like something was missing. I don't know. I always felt like God was back here. Couldn't see him, but I could tell he's there, but I couldn't get to him. And I didn't know who Jesus was. Didn't even know what role he played in it all. And I always felt like something's missing. So I filled it with things. I filled it, you know, within relationships. I tried to fill it. I filled it with things I shouldn't have filled it with. And I was always looking to fill that void. And I remember I would get really like connected with somebody, like dating, to fill that void. And and I'd get to the point like, yeah, this is working. And then I'd get to the point like, it's not working. And I don't know, you ever if you were like me, I was notorious for dating for just a little while. And I'm like, yeah, it's not you, it's me. No, you need to go. And it was because I was always looking to fill something that can't be filled by the world. I can't be filled. And I mean, and it did. It had me running after things. And I'm going to tell you, somebody who's been saved for 20-something years, I forgot about that. I forgot about that emptiness and that loneliness. And I remember at one point kind of shaking my puny little fist at the Lord. And I said, I've tried to find you and you've not made yourself apparent, so I'm done looking. I literally had those words to God. I've looked for you. And when I say I looked for you, I'd walk in a church. I would go to a church service. I didn't grow up in a church. I mean, I went on holidays and things like that. And it might have been a Baptist church. It might have been a Catholic church. It was, Catholic more times than not. I still to this day, the little Catholic comes out of me in church sometimes. Not that I was that diehard Catholic anyways. But when it comes to, you can stand at your seat and pray. I'm like, I want the boasters to kneel down and let me pray at my seat. So I like to get down on my knees and pray at church. And I do that at my seat, like I was in a Catholic church. Anyway, so I shook my little fist and I say that lovingly, that I was the person that just kind of showed up. And how often do we have people that come to church that just kind of show up and we notice them and then they leave and we kind of think like that's all they want to do. A lot of times that's not all they want. They're just waiting to be invited. And I was really waiting to be invited. Good morning, Darcy. And I wasn't really invited anything deeper than the first. And I was kind of like, okay. And I shook my little fist. And it was at that moment I went deeper into a road of sin. Good morning, Claudia. Into a road of sin. I mean, I was on a highway to hell on my sin wagon. I mean, I was going. And almost in anger. But I mean, I knew the things I was doing I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't know God. I didn't accept his son. I didn't have the Holy Spirit. I didn't have the great counsel. So the sin I was doing alongside the sin with everybody else didn't have any weight on me. And I say that because I have a good friend that she accepted Christ as a child, but she was the prodigal child to the Lord, not to her parents. And she's still haunted. She's still having that baggage that she's dragging around about that sinful guilt. Because the difference was while she was doing it, she had the full capacity to know what she was doing against God. And I didn't. And so that's kind of a big difference, So I was spiraling, and it was one mistake after another, looking for love, looking to have that hole filled in. Good morning, Nicole. To have that hole filled in to me. And really that hole was just that missing relationship with God. Like nothing was going to be good until then. I don't even want to go into how sinful I was or my daily habits, but I will say most people don't recognize me. In fact, when I came to Christ, another friend who was saved as a child who was running amok, she didn't like it because I changed. And she's like, how dare you read the word to somebody else when I remember what you did last year? I remember what you were doing. Let me, graphically recount what you did. And I endured that for about a year or two. And finally I said, but that was me before Christ. And I didn't have Christ. And now I do. So what was a game changer for me was three things kind of happened all at one time. So I had already met my husband. I'd already met my husband, and crazy story, I met him on the interstate. Because, crazy girl, remember crazy? He was crazy, I was crazy, we were crazy. And we both went to the same college, and a new creation. We both went to the same college, so we became friends. We actually became friends, and then we started dating. And in our dating, we were at the crossroads of this was fixing to be over. We both really liked each other, but the way we treated each other and living up to each other's expectations, we were about to be done. And yet neither one of us really wanted to, but that's where we were. And we're about to be done. And he says, hey, I know what you want, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm like, how do you know what I want? Because I don't even know what I want at this moment. This was in the worst of it worst. He goes, you want to go to church, and I know a church to take you to. Hey, I do want that. Okay, I'll go with you on that. And so my husband took me to church, and he took me to a little church in a little town called Melrose. We didn't live there. It was a little bit of a drive. And what was really cool was in that little church, we already knew half the people. I've never had that experience before because we hunted with them. So we were in the hunting lease, and a lot of the people that went to the same church from this hunting lease. So we went there. So that was the first part, and they preached the gospel, and it wasn't long, and we were going to Sunday school. I wonder who has garbage duty this week. Hold on. Come on.
Today's Monday.
Oh, you're right. That is not the garbage truck. It's Monday. It's not the truck. Again, I don't know why I'm having problems with my phone. So the coming together was going to a good church. My husband brought me to the church, and at the college, and it's funny because I went to UF, University of Florida, and it has become very liberal. And in its liberal state, I was in a very liberal department. And I was assumed for who I voted for. I was put out there. I mean, I was told, oh, you're voting for this president. We know you are. And if that's the case, we're going to cut your funding. Right? I've had those threats. I just had those. I don't know. I've dealt with being conservative in a liberal environment, and I learned a lot. I just kind of laughed. I'm like, I probably can spot them quicker than you realize. So in that, I had two girls come up and say, hey, we're going to do a Bible study. I mean, like our t-shirt for our department was tree hugging, whale kissing. I mean, it was right there. That was the t-shirt listing of who we are as engineers. And so I have this gal, and it was amazing. She a Bible study. And what was really cool was the Bible study that we did with Cynthia Mead. I think it was Becoming a Woman of God, I think. I don't remember, but I know it was Cynthia Mead. And we'd meet at Books A Million, and we would go through the Bible. So I got my first Bible because I'm doing this Bible study, and I didn't know anything. And so I was questioning every basic thing, the basics beyond basics. So in this course of this time period, I'm doing a Bible study with girls that are my age, I'm going to school with, hitting church, I'm going to Sunday school. Found what filled the hole. I'm going to tell you, if I didn't probably find Christ, I would have either gotten engaged to my husband and broke it off, or I would have married him and divorced him. And we were still pretty new Christians when we got married, and we almost still divorced in that time because we just were ill-equipped to, what did you say? My three girls are living that right now. 3 Christian conservatives, pro-lifers in an Ivy League school. Yeah, they're there. And they pray for them to find those other Christians in there because they're not the only ones there. A lot of them are just head down, eyes on the ground, moving forward. The only thing that can fill a God-sized hole is God. And that's absolutely right. My husband, you know, and that was one of the biggest things, and we still deal with today. We're in a better place today, is we came to the task of adulthood and parenthood and spousehood ill-equipped from the environment we grew up in. We were not equipped to do so, and we came to it, and we're doing it, and sometimes we're not doing it the best. We're just doing the best we can, and sometimes it's a flop, and sometimes it's just utter amazement, and we're just getting a little better every day. And so that's what I wanted to share. I just wanted to share, like, I know that hole. I know, and I'm reminding myself of who I once was. I'm reminding myself of the bitter loneliness. I remind myself of who I was broken. Not to remind me that that's who I am, but just who that girl was. I call her a girl. Who that girl was. And it's built such a tenderness for me because I see the girls that are just like that girl. And it reminds me to pursue ways to love them like Jesus and find a way to deliver. And sometimes that's in the issue of, like, how do I do this appropriately? Because I can get to them because I do these other things. Learning that, yes, we live in this world, but we are not of this world. And that's right. And it's hard. And you got the whole world telling you. You have the whole world telling me. So that's my testimony in a tiny little nutshell. And apparently YouTube does not like it, or whatever. The devil's after to stop it because it keeps wanting to stop. But I do want to show you the work on my garden. Yes, 22 minutes to get to my garden. But I want to show you some cool things I've been doing. I've been playing around with germinating. I germinated in the plastic bags and they turned out well. And I picked them apart. Let me go show you. I picked them apart. And my neighbors do weird stuff, so it's loud and it's probably, I don't know. Sorry if it's not a perfect. But the paper towels, and I'd pick the seeds out. And the seeds are so embedded, and it was so much work. I'm not really a super fan of that anymore. But I did prick them out. I pricked them out. And then I put them in these trays. And let me show you these trays. Let me see if I can. There we go. So I put them in these trays. So each one of these seeds I picked out. But I'm unsure because I feel like I might have damaged more than I did well. And that's one of my biggest concerns. So see, I have these. These are cherry tomatoes. They're 100 hybrids from Fairy Morse. These are the sage container varieties from American Seed. Interesting thing, I went to look up American Seed Company. I could not find it. And I went and looked at, well, remember, I'm a lukewarmer. I'm trying to get hot again. So I'm working on it. But we do have to be reminded of who we are. I went and looked at the American Seed. And American Seed and Fairy Morse have the same physical address. So they're the same company. So what you're buying in the Dollar Tree is from Fairy Morse. So I'm wondering if they're seconds, but I've had great germination rates on it. These are forget-me-nots I have planted. I have some bell peppers. These are cayenne slim reds. These are yellow peared tomatoes. This is the American Seed butternut squash. So essentially all these butternut squash cost me 25 cents. I'm waiting for my bell peppers to come up. And then I have some Detroit red beets coming up. I actually planted those by seed, 3 in each container. So when I put them in, I've started my radishes, my large cherry red tomatoes. Look at these beautiful things. These are crickneck squash. Now, so one of the things I have is I write my info in the back. So I started them in a bag on the 24th. I put them in the tray the 29th. And so that was 9 days ago. And then when I look here, my roots are getting ready to come out. So I'm going to transplant those shortly. I did some sugar snap peas, bachelor buttons, Cherokee purple tomatoes, and serrano chili peppers. Okay. So I did those, and I about made myself crazy. There's my neighbors. Picking every seed out in that paper towel and damaging the seeds. And I was just like, no more, no more. I cannot do this. So I've decided to plant the entire paper towel. So let me show you what that looks like. So I will say this is not a paper towel one because I realized I kept trying to figure out when it says accidentally planted. These are my honey melons. And so what had happened was I had set the envelope on the ground to plant. I never planted and I never picked up the envelope. And then I went and looked and had all these sprouts in the envelope. So I stuck them all in here. And here's one. I put the whole paper towel in. Here's some Shastas. I just put the whole paper towel in. You can even see here where it's sticking up. I set the whole sheet, the paper towel. There's some more of my garden. Give you the updated tour here soon. And I did the same here. And I talked to a friend of mine. See, look how good my cilantro is sprouting and my hot peppers are coming up and my leeks. I talked to my friend and she said, that's absolutely fine because the paper towel will biodegrade. And I'm like, cool, that's good. I will do it that way. But even that is a pain. So I'm trying something else. I think I've seen it on Bubble Beat. And I want to show you this one. And I want to tell you the methodology. And this has become even easier. Let's see, let's hope it works. There's no guarantees. So to have seedlings start, they need humidity, not light, just humidity. So this is my seedling start. This is the equivalent of my greenhouses right here. And in here, here we go. In here are my starts. So pretty. I can't wait to try to garden up here in Missouri this year, right? So this is Florida mustard. So what I literally did was take the entire packet and drop it right here. This is only, I planted these on Friday and today's Monday. This is what I have. And what I'm going to do is take my seeds. So once they start going a little bit, I'd break them in half and put them in another cell and put them in 2 cells. So you can see my other mustards have gone off. These are giant red mustards. My cranberry hibiscus is getting started. And I put a little cap of dirt, but you can see like, there they are. Look, we'll lift this cap of dirt up. And there they are. See them? Put the little dirt back on. I have some zinnias going. So I tried to do, so I just kind of started. This is my experiment. These are those page dividers, and I got a pack for 25 cents. So I tried to cut them and use them. I mean, they're so cheap, but one side you can write on, the other side you can't. And it's such a pain. I quit. I don't bother with it. I just bought these, and I spent a lot of money buying these from the Dollar Tree because they come to be 10 cents a piece. But I believe I'll be able to clean them and reuse them. So I've decided to make that investment. All right, so this is like a $4 under the bed storage. And this just happened accidentally. I didn't measure anything. I bought this one from Walmart. Sorry, I got so much. This is what it is. It's the mainstay under the bed storage box, 28 quart. It runs around $4. And you wouldn't believe how excited I was when I realized these little trays, I could fit 4 by 2 in here. So I can fit 8 of these trays. And these are the trays I bought my cabbage and my kale, the little 6-packs that they have. So this is completely reused. I didn't go out and buy these. They're the 6-pack of lettuce and cabbage and kale and broccoli that you can get from the stores. So this is where I picked these up. What I've come to realize that I'm doing, so this is my perfect tray right here, because I've planted them here, and then my thing will be, when I split them, I will take this and split it between these 2 cells. So that's what I should have done with all of them. It kind of will work out because these 3, I have 3 cells here. This one actually goes across already, so these two would go into here. My catnip will go over there. This will get split up because I had to find room for when I split them up. So that's my kind of plan. I'm hoping this works because I put a lot of investment in here with the seeds, you know, each one of these seed packets. Like this one, I say it's old. I don't remember when I bought it. It's been in my box forever, so I don't know if they'll grow or not. So putting them here, I don't take up a lot of real estate to see if it works. The other thing I like about doing it this style is it's really quick. Like I just dumped the whole packet of seeds in there. It's really, really quick. So I like that. I might think, you know, I might in the future figure out, I probably didn't need to do the whole envelope at one time, but I was a little bit anxious and excited, so I did them. I probably, there's so much here that I probably could have gotten away with, I probably could have gotten away with doing like a set now and a set in a month. But this works amazing. And for $4, it's my little germinating one. So let me show you the real tour of the garden. And I have some other projects going. Definitely, I'm sure you can tell, fighting some inflammation. I've been on the balance beam with my GERD lately. All right, so let's start with the strawberry patch. So the strawberry patch from the last time you've seen is filling out. I have a lot of blooms. I'm going to have to put some netting up here so when they start actually creating berries, I don't lose them to the birds or get one of those owls. Back over here, I had all of my seeds, but now they're lining up the top. I did some work. I think I may actually have figured out what is what, but I've noticed the difference, like the sprouts here, I did at the 1st of January. And I mean, I just did those at the end of January, and I feel like there's definitely a difference. So the one thing I spent some time thinking about was this was old potting. I think it might have been potting soil for a pot, where these were actually germination soil, and the germinating soil is definitely doing a better job. So today I decided on Mondays I'm going to start fertilizing once a week with fish emulsion. And so I'm hoping to see a return here. So going back into my strawberry, I've stuck some marigolds. I've been buying marigolds, kind of putting them in. I'm going to have a ton of marigolds here shortly, but I wanted a little reward before I got going. I picked up the white eggplant. I actually have some seed going, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to the season in time. I'll pick off those poor leaves. It's looking a lot better. But what I did was I bought the 1 pack for $3, and I'm not a fan of doing that. But when I did it, I made sure I had one that had 2 stems. So I have a second one back here, and it came from the same pot. So I'm trying to be frugal about it. Got some violas for the kids. My celery, this is a 6-pack that I bought for celery. And then what you're going to see is I have 2 bamboo sticks. And the reason why is I really wanted to get that little cherry tomato in there. It's one of these. But I wanted to get it in there so I wouldn't try to plant something else. And I'm hoping by taking it out of my little spot and putting it in the dirt, it will get going better. You know, get motivated. And I gave it a little fish emulsion today. All right. So that is my, what is that called? That's the salad mix. I've never grown it this well. And at first I felt like I spaced it too far apart, but that's the gourmet green mix that I planted. And is it from this year? Well, look, I can't even tell. I like having them out here, but sometimes I regret. Then I have to watch my husband. He wants to clean up for me and throw those away. These are my carrots. I'm still waiting to come through, so they're coming along. Some more of those 6-packs. One of the things I'm like, how in the world do I have tomatoes everywhere? No, it's marigolds. I have marigolds everywhere. So I plan to sell a lot of my, extras this year. Do it a little differently. So this is my loofah bed. I grew them from seed. I got these from Echo, and I went ahead and spaced them out. I built this little trellis. I have plenty of bamboo. So my husband got upset. I did go and buy this, and he's like, you didn't even need to buy that. And you know what? He was right. But sometimes I have to learn the hard way. So I only bought one set of these sticks, and I used it just testing out. This is a setup I seen online, so I took a picture of it. And then at the bottom of each one, I have a loofah. Now I also have a couple of tomatoes. And ooh, that one fell off. And what I'm trying to do is actually train my tomatoes to go up. But these are my kids' 4-H little projects that didn't project well. And you can see how yellow that one is. All right, so that is this bed. This is the bed that had all the seeds before. All right, here we go. Isn't that gorgeous? So much beautiful green. Broccoli. So I've got broccoli, a 6-pack of broccoli. In the middle is a 6-pack of purple cabbage. And then 2 6-packs, so 12 kale. And we had this the other night. It was good. I gave some to the neighbor. It was good. In the midst of all of it, I have onions. So I have lots of onions coming. And weeds. Onions coming. I just gave this some fish emulsion today because I know I've packed them in so tightly to get them a little extra oomph going. And then here is my other trellis I've created. And again, I'm training my tomatoes to go up the trellis. So I'm hoping that I'll actually get my trellis up to here of tomatoes, and they'll be thin enough not to block out. Some rogue marigolds again. A planted marigold. Another seed test round here. And then we've got some cabbage and onion. This old jalapeno that's trying to come in, and we're giving it. So I'd planted some old, I want to show you what it looked like. It didn't look this good. This is an old marigold I planted last year, and I just emptied my dirt into this bin. They started getting watering, and look what happened. They're like, hello. And so I actually have a cutting from here on my table that's just being a happy little flower. Well, I took some little pieces, roots, and I planted them in. So I planted one here and it died. But look, I have some rogue marigolds, and I planted one here and I have some rogue marigolds. Here is one. This is what it looks like. It hasn't fallen over. And I know soon enough I'll have some rogue marigolds from here, because here's my seed. I should save it. There's some more rogue marigolds. Got rogue marigolds everywhere. These are my green beans that came up. They're bushes. I'm already curious if I'm going to regret not doing pole beans, because I could build the trellis up and not take over, but we'll see. And here's my lettuce. So I've filled my lettuce bed with even more lettuce. I just had a great harvest out of it, and I still have some in the kitchen. And I've added more. So of course, because I am overworking my fertility in my bed by having so many plants, I brought in fish emulsion. What you're going to notice, and you're probably going to notice this right here, I've been watching about using alfalfa pellets as like a composting fertilizer. And so those are alfalfa pellets. So they're like a horse feed. This is after it's had some water, and then it just disintegrates. It's like grass clippings, equivalent to grass clippings. So this is very packed in, but very beautiful. And then I have the goodies I've been shopping for. Oh, here's my problem. I just stepped on one. Oh well, it'll be fine. So I bought some clearance bananas. They were $7.50 instead of the $10. I have a banana head back in the back. I'm going to add those two because they're a different variety. I've bought some blueberries. And it's amazing because the blueberries have brought the bees in. Just so many bees have come in just because of the blueberries. So that's been cool. fig tree. We're going to try and make some hanging baskets with some gardenias. Blackberries. That's a beauty berry. I've got some from a friend of mine. Figs. We have figs in here. We have these little test kits of cucumbers. And they're actually, since putting them in here, growing faster than the ones I got from over there. I picked up a tangerine. This is my moringa. I do want to show you, this is a moringa. And this little sad stick is a moringa. And believe it or not, it's still alive. So don't throw your moringas out. The avocado I have, we're gonna catch a bee butt going on. Look at that. Look at that, they're so happy. I bought the blueberries for 10. They're not the best breed for my area. And I just found out there's gonna be some other ones that come in. I picked these sad little things up. Look at that. For $4. So I'm not expecting any return on them this year, but they're coming back really good. So that is my little garden, you know, and I'm using my little space wisely as I can. I've brought this box in. I've used that box for trying to do seed starts the way I'm doing it in the little green box, but it didn't stay moist. So I have pots ready, and I plan to pot up my crickneck to get them a little bit bigger before I put them in the ground in the back. But my back, I'm waiting on irrigation to do so. So that is my garden update. I'm gonna go take my girls to do some exploring today. And, you know, we've had the conversation. I'm okay if they go to high school. If they want to go to high school, they can go to high school. They can, you know, and I wish my area had more activities for them to feel more involved. And I'm just going to have to get creative. I did that last week. We're supposed to go bowling this Friday, and I just kind of started sending messages like, anybody want to go bowling? We're going bowling. Anybody want to come with us? Come on, let's go. And I'm hoping we'll stir up some interest in just getting out and about together, hopefully. But we're trying. Come on.